May I request Professor Arun Mehta to have a brief introduction to the contents of the book, please.
Thank you, Professor Varghese, for giving me this opportunity to present the details of my e-book entitled 40 Years of Arun C Mehta at NIEPA. Though it is titled 40 Years of Arun C Mehta, but otherwise it is History of Educational Statistics, Use of Data and Analysis in India. There are large number of articles, mimeographed, published, reports, but I have selected only 27 articles which are presented in 5 sections of this e-book. The first section deals with the educational statistics and educational management information system. Different published articles have been presented here, but the heart of this section is strengthening of educational management information system through U-DISE, which is one of the major achievements of NIEPA so far as strengthening educational management information system is concerned. In the second section deals with indicators of educational development, where 4 papers are presented. Apart from the day-to-day utilization of indicators like gross enrollment ratio, net enrollment ratio, retention rate, transition rate, dropout, promotion, repetition rate, in one of the papers which is presented in this section deals with, can there be alternative indicators, better indicators than the gross enrollment ratio and net enrollment ratio? To me, this particular article is very important, not only to always look into the participation through GER, NER, but there are other ways of looking into the participation of children in general and school education in particular. The third chapter deals with the demographic and enrollment projections. I still remember that in the ground floor, there was some party going on where there Dr. Vaidyanathan Iyer, he called me. I frightened. I was very small, junior lecturer. What happened? So he said that Secretary Education, Mr. Giri, wants to meet me. To me? Yes, he has seen your paper published in Journal of Educational Planning and Administration on enrollment projection. So following the discussion with him, a World Bank project was undertaken, given to me on enrollment projections, statewide enrollment projections. So in the third chapter, we present the demographic, in the third section, demographic and enrollment projections. This section also presents a module on enrollment and teacher projections, edited in 1994 by none other than Professor N.V. Varghese. This is the only set of modules which are available. After DPEP, we have Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan program, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan program, and now we have Samagra Shiksha. But unfortunately, the set of modules, 12 set of modules on district education planning is the only modules which are available, which are very handy and useful and widely being used at that time by the district as well as the state level officers. In the fourth section, data analysis and education planning, 5 papers have been presented. Again, in this paper, in this section, perhaps you must be knowing that I got an opportunity to visit Bangkok in 1987 for 3 months. There, as an intern, I developed a paper about the relationship between education and development indicators. That particular paper was later on published in the Silver Jubilee issue of the Journal of Education Planning and Administration. Perhaps Professor Varghese must be remembering that that was edited by the special editor, Professor Brahma Prakash. So, and this section also presents a brief analysis of upper primary education in India, which was jointly undertaken with Professor Varghese, and that was the basis of scaling up the district primary education program to the entire elementary level of education in the form of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan program in the year 2001. In the fifth section, that is devoted on to education for all. 7 papers have been presented in this particular section. I have been writing extensively on upper primary level of education, upper primary level of education. Later on, I also have written, contributed something on secondary level of education. So in this section, a paper on universal secondary education, can it be achieved in the near future? A detailed analysis was presented. But the first of these 7 articles, the first was on education for all in India, myth and reality. That was perhaps published in 1994, first major article published in the Journal of Education and Social Change. And that time, it is located in the Institute of Education, Pune. At that time, Professor Dr. G.D. Sharma was the director of Indian Institute of Public Administration, Pune. He has given me this opportunity. Institute of Education, I'm sorry. Institute of Education, Pune. So that was a big opportunity, and that encouraged me to write more and more. Following this particular article, many more articles were published. So this is very brief about the 5 sections, and these 5 sections are followed by annexures. One is the complete list of my contribution. You can see later. And in the second annexure, publications brought out based on the U-DISE data. I'm happy to report you that a total of 131 publications were brought out during 2002 to 2017 January. And this particular document, ebook, presents the list of all these documents along with the link. You just click the link, it will take you to that particular publication. So this is very brief about the book. I would like to say that the issues which I have been raising for the so many years over last 4 decades, they are also relevant now. The efficiency of education system, the quality of education, the high dropout rate, the low transition rate, participation is very low, it is still relevant. The dropout rate at the secondary and higher secondary level is very high. The participation rate in terms of GER at secondary and higher secondary level is very low. Though at that time, in early 80s, we were not having data. We were planning at the state level or at the country level. Only state-wise data was available. That too 7 to 8 with the time lag of 7 to 8 years. But now with the efforts of NIEPA, the time lag has come down to up to the 2017-18. It was brought down to 1 year from 7 to 8 years. But now again, one can see that data gap in educational statistics is time lag is again increasing. 2022-23 school education plans across the country are now based on the data of 2020-21. So whatever we have achieved, slowly but surely, we are one by one, we are losing many of these achievements. The dissemination at NIEPA, we have given topmost priority to dissemination, and 1 year data, on the basis of the 1 year data, we used to bring out 15 publications. Most of these publications or all of these publications are now discontinued. Otherwise, they were found very useful by the researchers, not from the India, but from across the country, across the world. One of the most important contributions of NIEPA was making available a school report card, individual school report card in case of 1.5 million school. That is available from the year 2005-6 to 2017-18 at schoolreportcards.in, our website, NIEPA website. But unfortunately, thereafter 17-18, this school report cards are nowhere available at one single point. We have always encouraged researchers to collect the unit-wise, school-wise data, and we have a large list of users, something around 10,000 users from across the world. They downloaded our data, but now there is a dissemination policy, data sharing policy, which encourages to discourage utilization of data, which is just opposite which we have followed previously. Lastly, I would like to say that of late, we now have school education quality index, performance grading index, health index, sustainable SDG, sustainable development goals index. But at the ground level, generally our officers, those who are engaged in school education planning under the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan previously or Samagla Shiksha right now, they are not aware about all these indexes, and these indices are available for 2019-20 when we are in the 2023. No district-wise indicators are available, no district-wise or the annual targets are available, in view of which now we think that focus must be given on to how to utilize all these indices so that meaningful interventions can be made out of the various indices which have been in the public domain right now. I would also like to say that now, because of the National Education Policy 2020, the school structure itself has been changed changed to the foundation stage, consisting of 5 years from age 3 to 7 years, preparatory phase of 3 years, middle school 3 years, secondary education 3 years, and now the time has come that we should re-look into the indicators, the meaning of universalization in view of the changes in the school structure. We may like to re-look into and compute a few new indicators which can give us where do we stand so far the school education is concerned. Lastly, I would like to say that this particular volume, apart from the foreword, which is written none other than Professor Kuldeep Mathur, our former director of NIEPA. I am grateful to Professor Mathur for having for writing this foreword. Not only the foreword is written, but my former colleagues at NIEPA, Professor Marmar Mukhopadhyay, Professor Pradeep Kumar Joshi, who is the chairman of the UPSC right now, Professor G.D. Sharma, Professor Najma Akhtar, currently Vice-Chancellor of Jamia Millia Islamia, Professor late Professor B.P. Khandelwal Sahab, Sri Baldev Mahajan, Dr. Geeta Kingdon, Simon Ellis from UNESCO Institute of Statistics, and Professor R. Govinda. They all have reflected on my research work. I am grateful to all my former colleagues and NIEPA faculty staff, members with whom I have worked over almost 4 decades. I am thankful to all of them. And lastly, I would thank Mr. Arun Joshi, who has prepared the layout, designed the layout of the ebook, and Srija Biju for developing the cover page of this particular book. Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. I am thankful and obliged. You have agreed to my suggestions to release this particular book on today. Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Professor Mehta, for giving a detailed introduction to the contents of this book. And it is also important to see that we separate the individuals from what it contains as the content. Thank you very much for focusing this on the themes that you have covered, and also touching upon the evolution of the demand for data and information in the process of development when we prepare the developmental plans. Thank you very
Thank
much
you,
for
sir.